David E. 75 World Leisure Symposium, and we have sessions running now until about 4:30, 5 o'clock this afternoon. There will be a break in the middle of the afternoon, and again, some refreshments are going to be served, and if we could use the same pattern for session, is Miss Linda Kundell, who is Public Relations Manager for the Club Méditerranée Incorporated, which is the North American marketing company for Club Méditerranée. Ms. Kundell is a graduate of Berkeley University in history, has been involved in a variety of professions dealing with social welfare work, has traveled a great deal, and has been with the club for some 5 years. She will be talking on Club Méditerranée's philosophy and organization as it relates to its physical facilities. Miss Linda Kundell.
Yeah, may as well. See how this works. That was mean. I think that'll do it. Yeah. On behalf of Mr. Jean Lallemonde, president of Club Med Inc., I express his regrets at not being able to attend. However, it gives me the intense pleasure of addressing you. I think we're going to have fun for the next half hour because Club Méditerranée is a concept in leisure, a product that deals in fun. And we want you to share some of it and show you what we've done with it, how we've done it. Before I go further, I have just been asked if this is the president's emblem. This is, I thought I'd dress this little lady up here to look like she belongs at the club. This is the pareo, which is one of the things you'll see in the slides I have. It's almost become a club, quote unquote, uniform, in that many of our resorts, people go around merely in a bathing suit and a pareo draped any way they want to, and you'll see examples of it later. Before I start, I would like to express my thanks to the audiovisual crew here, which has just been super. And on that happy note, I hope that gives you somewhat of a taste of what the club is about. I'm going to be talking a lot about people because Club Méditerranée is people, and it's an organization whose facilities have been designed for people. You have that on. The problem at hand is to create a total leisure environment where people can live out their fantasies, where a person can become, for a week at a time or more, whatever they want to become and do whatever they want to do within the confines of a supportive environment. The Club Méditerranée is a battle. It's a battle against cement, a battle against concrete. It's a battle, represents a battle against high-rise hotels that are put up overlooking beaches that we see so often today. It's a battle also against a mentality of cement, a mentality that in order to go to a specific hotel or resort, you have to dress in such and such a way, you have to behave in such and such a way. At the club, the one major concept was that A person's vacation is the time of year that they have chosen in their own leisure to escape from the daily routine. It's a time for renewal of the body and the mind. It's a time to indulge all of your fantasies, and the word fantasy will probably come up a lot in the course of my talking, because essentially what the club has tried to do is to bring fantasy into reality for a period of a person's vacation that they choose to spend there. The club's environment is a direct product of its philosophy. And for those of you who are unaware of what Club Méditerranée is, let me just briefly go into it. Club Méditerranée is a vacation organization with 68 vacation villages located in 20-odd countries, ranging from Tahiti to Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, and the Indian Ocean. The vacation village is a self-contained unit where a person chooses to spend a week, and we in turn provide he or she with all the necessities we feel are important for a vacation: sports, entertainment, ambiance, which is something hard to describe, simple accommodations. Now, the club actually represented a very revolutionary concept in Europe. We are a Paris-based organization that was founded in 1950 by Gerard Blitz, who had been a former water polo champion and a Belgian diamond cutter. He was commissioned by the Belgian government to set up rehabilitation camps for returning prisoners of war. And slowly this concept evolved and was working so successfully, people decided, well, why not try this for the man in the street, the businessman? There were several factors that made the timing propitious. First of all, with the end of World War II, you had an emerging middle class in Europe with discretionary income to travel. You had increasing urbanization, increasing concentrations of people in cities, and you had the development of mass transportation. You had the airplane that was beginning to come into its own. These factors almost set the scene for an organization like Club Méditerranée to come about. Now, the club began with one little resort at Alcudia, Mallorca, consisting simply of tents where participants washed their own dishes, cooked their own meals. But in exchange for the tents, they had complete use of sailboats, water skis, outdoor facilities. This was a new emphasis because previously, when a European would travel, a European would go to a very classy style resort, usually, or a hotel where they would have to dress up, where they would have to tip, where they were waited on hand and foot. This was very novel in that they were taking people and saying, well, that's not what you really want to do with your time. You want to be able to enjoy the outdoors. You want to be able to forget about your formal clothing. You want to be able to forget about having to tip someone. Why do you need someone waiting on you hand and foot? Well, gradually, this caught on to the point where today Club Méditerranée is 68 villages and making tremendous inroads in North America. I essentially have broken down the club's philosophy into what I call the 3 F's, and there are probably many more. But in order to keep this clean, The first is freedom, food, and fantasy, and you take it from there. Food. Okay, the accommodations are going to be simple because we're not going to put our money into building an elaborate room, because the person who goes to the club is not going to spend their vacation in their room. They're going to spend it outside, enjoying nature and enjoying other people. It's a French organization, and to the French, one of the most important things in life is food. Therefore, there are 3 meals a day, unlimited food, buffet style, and very, very French. And of course, where would the French be without wine? Sacrilegious for Frenchmen to go anywhere and not have his wine. So the club provided all the wine anyone could drink with lunch and dinner. That's part of it. Since it is a French organization, unfortunately, we Americans that want our after-dinner coffee have to go to the bar and take it the French way and pay a little extra for that. Sports. Sports was one of the most important factors, not only for the novice, but the expert as well. So what we did essentially was, how many of us spend 50 weeks a year landlocked? How many of us would really, in the back of our heads, love to become a sailor or love to learn how to water ski? Well, the club has provided for whatever a person's sports fantasies may be. We'll take a person who has never sailed, teach them sailing in classes, tennis, water skiing, whatever. It's both there on water and land for all levels. The expert will find tennis tournaments. The novice will really learn how to do these things. After many black and blue marks, I can say I'm a product of the club's water skiing school. It hurt. Land sports, gymnastics. The French put a great deal of emphasis on being in shape. However, it's an environment where a person can go and, well, if they don't look great in a bikini, what the hell? Nobody else cares. These are some of the people that are the central element at the club. These are what we call GOs, or kind organizers, gentil organisateur in French. Members are referred to as GM or JM in French. It has nothing to do with General Motors. It means kind members. You have a basis of equality whereby essentially class status disappears. Everyone is addressed by their first name, and the staff partakes of all activities along with the guests. This was the chef de village, or village manager, who was an ex-ski instructor at one of the Caribbean resorts. Incidentally, at most of the resorts, they try very hard to keep with the feel of the country they're in. Therefore, this photo was taken in Guadeloupe. The local people who work at the club wear usually localized clothing or stylized versions of it. Bernard Polak, an ex-jazz musician who has been chef de village at the Caravelle at Guadeloupe and at Martinique as well. Bernard has been with the club a long time. He's the type of person that you go up to. Nobody has a last name at the club. There are no status standards. The bathing suit has done away with the need to dress and overdress. Bathing suit and a pair of beads, which are the pop beads that we use at the bar, are all you need. This fellow is now chef de village at Réunion in the Indian Ocean. That gives you an idea of the kind of people who are managing the resorts, not your typical hotel manager by any means. This is Kiki. He was chef de village at Fort Royal, which incidentally is the village that we have donated the 1 week stay as a prize. This is the staff gardener at the Caravel. And these are just people doing their own thing, I guess. One of the big things at the club is the fact that there is no tipping. Financial freedom. Included in the package are the accommodations, the sports, the entertainment. There are very few extras, drinks at the bar, an optional excursion, or a gift at the boutique. This frees the person to be able to deal with his environment and to be able to really pursue his or her leisure to the optimum. The Barbies, there's no need to carry money at a hotel village. If you're going to wear a bathing suit, there's no room for the money either. So the Barbies, which float, you can go swimming with them, you can do almost anything with them, are the one form of currency that we do have. And they're fun besides. Essentially, the village then is a place where each person is able to live out his vacation dream, whatever it may be. It may just be lying on the sand and nurturing a tan. It may be becoming wild at night and dancing in a discotheque until 4 in the morning. It may be, becoming the champion water skier or learning how to scuba dive. It's whatever anybody makes it. The entertainment is provided by the GEOs or the local staff. I don't know if this is in focus. Well, it was. There's also, in an attempt to integrate the clubs with the environment of the country, they're in local entertainment. Well, this one wasn't so local. I don't know why I can't focus her. Dance troupe in the Caribbean. Everyone joins in too. This is Tahiti, and it's an atmosphere where if anybody feels like getting up on the stage doing their thing, you do it. There are no rules, there are no barriers at the club. I'm going backwards. This is our newest village, Playa Blanca in Mexico. Essentially, here's a team welcoming a group of city folk for their first week of the village. We call it a celebration of life. Now that you have an idea of what our philosophy is, let's talk a little about the practical implications. Site selection. Where do you put this kind of a special community? There are certain factors that have to be taken into account. My goodness. This is an aerial of the Caravel Hotel on Guadeloupe, which is a good illustration of some of the factors we look for. Space, a lot of space. Minimum, usually we like to deal in 50-acre lots to begin with. There must be a lot of beach space. We're trying to avoid the cramped Coney Island or Mediterranean beach scenes that are much more commonly found. Natural facilities, good beaches, good waters for sailing, water skiing, scuba diving, accessibility. Within under 2 to 3 hours of a major airport. The club provides a package for the vacationer where essentially everything is done for them, including the transportation. A vacationer comes from New York, he is automatically taken care of. Say he's going to our new village at Playa Blanca. Once he lands at the airport, a club bus is there to transport him and the group of people that he has come with. So virtually everything is taken care of. Beaches. The beach is important. It's a meeting place for people as well. This is our village at Martinique. And although it looks very crowded, it really isn't. This is the main area that people usually tend to like to go to. This is the Caravel on Guadeloupe that has the beach that is a mile long. This is the place where you make your human contacts and you make your contact with nature, and this is where you spend most of your time at a village. Our new resort at Playa Blanca. This is the entrance to Buccaneers Creek on Martinique. It was built in a coconut grove on an absolutely lovely cove facing Diamond Head. There is a lot of space there, and the structures blend in with the environment. Let's see if I can get the other one on, too. What happened there? Okay. Flow of traffic, space, and structures are very important to creating the leisure environment that we have striven for. On your right is the major centre d'animation, or center of activities at Martinique. Essentially, the village is built with a center where people eat, have their entertainment, the bar is all there. Radiating from that are the accommodations and walkways to the various sports facilities in a village. So you always have a flow of traffic going to and from, easy accessibility. On your left is the main road at Martinique. We call it a road, it's really a path. There are no cars in any of the villages. This road leads down to the port where many of the water sports facilities are. The other way, you arrive at the centre d'animation. The bar is always a very important place at the club. This one is at Assini in Africa. As you can see, they've tried to blend the feeling of the bar to the local architecture. This also is Assini. As you can see, the swimming pool is immense. In many of the club resorts, the center, focal center, is the swimming pool. Around the swimming pool, you will have, let's see if I can get it. You will have your restaurant and bar area surrounding it. So everything is located within one center that is spacious enough to hold usually 600 people without ever giving you the feeling that there are 600 people there. This is the swimming pool at Playa Blanca, the new resort. Let's see what I have on. Another example of the structures at Buccaneers Creek. This is the entertainment area, another view of it. The restaurant on top. And on your right, also at Buccaneers Creek, is the classical music listening room, We feel that music is also part of a leisure environment, and what better way to enjoy it than a concert at sunset. So every day at sunset, there's a classical music concert, sometimes a jazz concert preceding. And if you have never experienced it, I can assure you that if you feel like swimming to a Caribbean sunset with Berlioz' Symphonie Fantastique or a Bach partita is an incredible experience. If you feel like staying on land, there is a structure built overlooking the sea, and it adds a new dimension in really enjoying leisure. Then you have the nightclubs. Normally at the club, from after dinner, which ends usually about 10 o'clock to 12, there's a show and there's dancing to a live band. For anyone who wants to stay up later, there is a discotheque. And because there's a bit of noise, a discotheque is usually located somewhat out of the mainstream. This particular one is also at Assigny on the Ivory Coast, and once again resembles the thatched roof architecture, so common of that area. Mealtime. Mealtime to the French is very, very important. Tables for 8 is the seating at the club. There are no reserved seats. A person arrives at the dining room and they're seated by a hostess unless they choose to come with friends. This means that the opportunities to meet people are endless. This is a view of the interior dining section at Martinique. It's hard to notice in this photo, but it has been constructed so that you normally do not see more than 6 or 8 tables at a time. Every 6 or 8 tables, you take a turn, you zigzag. So you're seeing another part of the dining room. You do not have the feeling that you're entering a large Catskills hotel dining room or a massive dining room of a huge boat or something. We have maintained a feeling of intimacy by design, even when we have villages for 600 people, because the human aspect is so important. Candlelight dinners once a week. Or during the daytime, more informally, people can dine in the lounge area. This also is Martinique. And here are just to whet your appetite. This is the Caravel in Guadeloupe. This is how the food is served. There's always a special area for hot foods as well. The buffets usually are about 50 feet in length. Sports, backyard is sports. Here you see some of the examples of the class instruction. It would be hard to tell which is the géo and which is the visitor. Usually the only way you can tell is because the géo usually has a better tan. Here the fellow in white trunks is giving a snorkeling lesson. And daily class instruction in tennis. And for those who eat too much, there's a morning exercise class. This is at Fort Royal, once again, the village that we are donating. Water polo is a very popular sport. There are always impromptu games whenever anybody wants to start playing around, fooling around, they do it. Fort Royal, once again. This is an example of one of the earlier villages. We still have a certain number of thatched roof hut villages, which we call Kaz. The original concept of the club was that you stay in very, very minimal surroundings with all of the sports facilities and food available to you. This is Sveti Marko, Yugoslavia. Essentially, the thatched roof huts have nothing in them but 2 beds and shelves to put clothing on. There are sanitary blocks, which they euphemistically say are conveniently located. I can tell you that sometimes they're a hike away. And one ends up planning their day very carefully. Usually in the central area, you have your swimming area and you're overlooking a bay. There is no electricity in the huts either. But you usually have a stupendous view. Sveti Marko is a little island in the Bay of Kotor. The club has the whole island. And this is the view from one of the Kaz, actually. A slightly more luxurious version of the thatched roof hut is in Tahiti on the island of Moorea. This is the central area. This is basically the dining area. And those are the whares, which are one step removed from the thatched roof hut concept. There is electricity inside the whare, and there are regular bath facilities. Our rooms are very simple. We have no locks on the doors. There are no televisions at a club village. There are no radios, there are no newspapers, because we feel these are reminders of the everyday life that people are trying to escape from. Instead, we have names for our rooms instead of numbers. Once again, as part of this total environment we have tried to create. These are both slides of our latest village at Playa Blanca, Mexico. We have always strived to stay within the harmony of a particular country by stylizing our architecture. Our architecture is gradually becoming a little more elaborate, a little more comfortable. This is, as I said, our latest village. As you can see, once again, there is the center beach activity, daytime activity, evening as well, with bungalows clustered around. There you have a large swimming pool. These are additional views of Playa Blanca. May I thank Paul Spurrigan for some of his slides of Playa Blanca, which I think show the structures very, very well. Can we show the film on Playa Blanca? I have a very short 1-minute film that shows the integration of the structure with, go one back. Fort Royale is an example of a pre-existing hotel that the club took over and added structures to. This photo is in the main pre-existing hotel structure. As you can see, the amenities are simple, comfortable but simple. The club then built a number of cottages on the beach as well as on a hillside, once again to blend in with the environment. A next step for the club before I leave you, was the concept that children deserve the same kind of vacation as their parents. So we've established a mini club where we built our own little facilities where children from 9 to 5 can enjoy their own fantasy world while their parents are left alone and go off on their own pursuits. I wonder if this is backwards. Somewhere on this sign, as you can see, it says no parents allowed. It's children's private domain, and that's it. This is the mini club with a swimming pool, and there's a little play area, there's a little amphitheater for the children as well. And here are some of them in action. The children as well have their own instructors, their own JOs that stay with them for the whole day and will teach them sports. Essentially what I've tried to do has been to show you what can happen when you take a human concept and build a resort around the human needs of people. The club has worked very well. It's a difficult ambiance to try and explain, so I will go no further. But we think we've succeeded in designing a place for people where people can become whatever they want to whenever. And with that, we bid you a fond adieu.